Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 3 for 1 Sky Fantasy podcast from Fantasy Football Hub. Paul is off this week, so I'm delighted to welcome the wonderful Ian Parrin, who's had a good start to the season, it's fair to say. Ian, how are you? And how is your season
Yeah, very
going?
good. Thanks, Fergi. Yeah, not too bad. Thank you very much.
What have you been up to?
Using the old Parrin tactics. Not many transfers. Decent rank, so not to be sniffed at. And what I've really been enjoying is the Rugby World Cup, to be honest.
I bet you have been. You're a massive rugby fan, aren't you? And the weekend's
Love
action.
it, yeah.
I'm not a massive rugby fan, I've got to be honest, but the weekend was incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah, any skeptic that says rugby's not a game to watch, if they'd have watched the Saturday and Sunday night, they were the best games you've seen in a long while.
They were absolutely superb, and you've had a good start to the season. I wouldn't say I was surprised, only because you tend to start off reasonably slowly, don't you, and then kind of gather momentum and then finish the season with a flourish. But you seem to have got off to a bit of a flyer.
Yeah, a little bit fortunate. A couple of different picks to what I saw in a lot of teams. I actually started off the season with Turner. And
for that opening game day, for the opening Friday captaincy, was it?
That's right,
nice.
Yeah. And everybody else seems to have fitted into place. And not too many changes made, less than a handful.
Less than a handful?
Less than a handful,
wow.
Yeah. Rashford came and went, Diaz came and went, and the rest are all pretty much still sitting there.
Well, mate, and at 3K, we'll definitely be looking out for you at the end of the season, I think, because that is
let's hope so.
A superb rank. Just a quick welcome to everyone in the chat. Manchester is in. He says he beat Windy this week. Windy is in as well, asking about Nakamba. We'll be having a bit of a chat about Nakamba and Bissouma, I'm sure, in a little bit. Darren Skidmore is in. Graham Craig, Dave Hannigan, Simon Gosden, Alan Diego, Bert Welsh, Tomya, Viney62, John Acornley asks, time to take the armband off Haaland. That'll be an interesting one. Julian Wardle is in. Great question, Julian. We'll read it in around transfer usage. Sam D. Taylor is in. Bobby Shearer, FPL Spartans, again, another good question. Jason Harry, Dom Slater, Sam Guy, Steve Cheek, and everyone else in. Yeah, slightly later this evening because of Ian's working day. Paul works from home on a Monday, normally, which is why we can kind of squeeze it in a bit earlier. But yeah, great to have you here, Ian, and great to
glad to be back.
To have you in. Windy says, by the way, has anyone looked up Bayer's injury record? He makes Darren Anderton look fit. Yeah, I've got that swine in my team.
One for the teenagers, Fergie.
Indeed, Anderton was my prime. He was. I was the fabulous five. Was it Anderton, Sheringham, Barmby, Dumitrescu and Petrescu were that fabulous five of that. So I do remember that year, right? Late 90s, wow. Something like that.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive. Ozziad Diles is captain. Anup is in as well. Great to have you in with us, Anup. Quick look at the average transfers remaining, which are just bonkers. Top 10 went from 23.2 to 17. So those in the top 10 have only got 17 transfers left for the whole season, even though we've only played 8 game weeks. The top 100 down from 25 to 20. Top 1,000, 30 down to 27. And top 5,000, 35 down to 32. So judging, Ian, by your comments, if you've used less than a handful, you have significantly more than the average left.
Yeah, I think probably most of the, shall we call it, engaged managers have got more than the average.
Yeah, I think so. We had a couple of questions actually just around transfers, and we might as well ask them now. One off Julian. He says, do you think it'd be more difficult for the tortoises to catch the hares this year, as the only rearranged game appears to be the latter FA Cup games and maybe a little inclement weather? The only thing I would add to that, and I know this because it's a massive turning point every year, is the Carabao Cup final always produces some swings, don't it, as well?
There'll be at least one move there.
Yeah.
And I think FA Cup quarterfinals and FA Cup semi-finals, they'll be the rearrangements. Yeah. The third and fourth round are standalone weekend games, aren't they? And the fifth round's a midweek round, normally just before the last international break in March. But you do have the winter fixture where they have got a split weekend. Yeah. That's a thing this year again. Yeah. You've got Man City who'll be coming from a blank into a double, to use FPL parlance. early January probably. And I mean, my view on transfers is well known. You can never have too many at the back end of the season, and there are always more fixture gains in the second half of the season.
I always find it incredible how they tend to land where you're like, when the fixtures are out, they tend to be like, 2 for 1. You may get the odd 3 for 1, which we see now from time to time, obviously. But when
you don't get many three for ones or 2 for noughts at the start of the first half of the season. It needs to be somebody playing on like a Sunday, Friday,
yeah, exactly that, yeah.
And then jump back to somebody else. But that's always 2 transfers.
It is. Whereas when these turn into 4 for 1s and sometimes 5 for 1s, 6 for 2s, you can then daisy chain on with the additional transfers, can't you? Rather than
that's right. So you're gaining 2 or 3, then gaining another 2 or 3, then gaining another 2 or 3, just by jumping between the teams.
Yeah, this is it. He says, he says, I may be asking a little hope as I've used a couple more transfers than the initial plan, and certainly last year. I would say I have as well. I've used 10 now, which last year I'd only used 9
so that's
before
10
the World
for 8
Cup.
game weeks.
Yeah. I have.
It just seemed a little bit more than you'd like to use, isn't it?
I used 3 last weekend. I was away. I don't know if you can tell from my voice. I'm still a bit my voice and my eyes. I'm still a bit rough, to be honest, after a long golfing weekend away. But I did. What did I do? I did Diaz to Son for the Saturday captaincy, but also I think it worked out like a 3 for 1 over Man City. Obviously, still got the 2 there and the 2 potential captaincy days there. Awonyi was injured, unexpectedly injured and out for a month. So I did an early shift for him to Watkins, which I was planning to do after the break anyway.
This weekend, was it? Normally,
exactly that. Yeah. And then I still had Onana, so I just did Onana to Alisson just because I felt I was losing ground a bit on owners of Pope and things, but Liverpool's fixtures now, they go on an incredible run right till the overhaul, really, don't they? Yeah. So I thought, I just want to get Alisson in. He only got the 1 pointer, but even though I've used 10,
does your team seem well set up though now?
I think so. I've still got Bissouma, and there's definitely a couple more players I want, I think. I don't know.
Have you got glaring gaps that you need to get rid of people, or is it just more
I think I want Saliba.
I'd rather have somebody else.
I've got Bayer still. I've got Colwill still. So I'm thinking about.
Oh, they're your basement options then, yeah.
They are, but they are very, very basement, aren't they? And the fixtures turn for Colwill soon. Bayer might be injured. I don't know. We'll see.
You got some money in the bank?
No. So...
Oh.
Bro, I spent it on Watkins, so I'm okay. Well, I can do something along the lines of. I think I'm planning. Hang on, this is like a doctor thing on my team at the moment. This wasn't the plan, but I think I'm probably speaking for a lot of people because a lot of people have got this like a similar sort of template team. I think a lot of us have got the same 8 or 9. But I was having a brief look earlier, and I'm thinking of using maybe another 2 or 3 over the next 3 weeks or so. Sort of a Son or Maddison, and like Colwill and Bayer to something like. Saliba, I'd love Saliba back. I think I made a bit of a mistake by taking him out earlier on. Who was the who goes? I can't even remember, but it was a midfielder, maybe Nakamba. I don't know. I need to have a think. But I think I remember thinking if I used 3 transfers, I'm well set until the end of November when we've got that rogue kind of Wolves and Fulham game, haven't we? Yeah. But I think other than that, it's fairly okay to navigate in it.
That's probably fair enough then.
Oh, I'm happy enough. I do think overall the people are using more transfers this year than last due to a variety of factors. But
yeah, there's been a few rogue days put in, hasn't there?
There has, and a couple of injuries and stuff as well. But FPL Spartans also asks, what are the ballpark figures you'd be aiming for to have number of transfers left at overhaul? He says, don't let Mr. P just answer as many as possible. So. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to be halfway through the season at overall, aren't we? Is it game week 20?
Yeah.
So I would say if you've got 30 left, use 20. That's probably fair enough.
I think so.
Any more, all to the better. A few less. If you're further up the leaderboard, then okay, you've got points in the bank, haven't you? So.
Yeah, I think last year was skewed because we broke up, didn't we, on like November the 13th. After,
it was a game week
after
15,
15 game
it?
weeks, that was it. 15 game
But some
weeks.
of those were missed as well due to Her Majesty.
You're absolutely right. So I think those looking at last year as as the bar, I think are looking incorrectly. I had 41 left last year at that time, but as you say, we'd only played 15
similar,
weeks,
I think,
and some had been missed,
and we still ran out.
And we still this is the thing. I had 20 left with a few weeks left, and I still ran out at the end. It's incredible how it works, doesn't it?
Madness, really.
It is. Okay, we've got the calendar up for the next kind of 4 or 5 weeks, and that and at the end we've got that Wolves Fulham single game day on Monday, the 27th of November. But up until that, for me, Ian, it does look very I brought in Watkins early, for example. I've got a couple of Spurs players. As many have now. There's a Spurs and Chelsea single game day. Liverpool have got a day where it's an easy captain against Luton.
Is that the Luton game? Yeah.
It doesn't look too difficult to navigate through this next phase. Is that your take?
No. Yeah, pretty much. You want Tottenham, but if you haven't got any, the opportunity is there with the Monday game this week.
Yeah,
you can pick them up. You've got a 2-0 over everybody. And then you can also keep the one you bring in if you haven't got one ready for the Chelsea game.
Yeah. What's your kind of thinking for those players who do want to use a few transfers over the next few weeks, the kind of teams and players you'd be maybe looking at?
I'd be looking to maximise your chances between now and the overhaul, really.
Yeah.
So one of my philosophies playing this game is you want to fill your team with people with high floors, and then get the high ceiling guys in for your captaincy.
Yeah.
So if you look at the Tottenham games, you would think that the captaincy guys should be probably Son or maybe Maddison, but your floor guys are probably the likes of Romero, or Bissouma. Yeah. I mean, notwithstanding his yellow and red card issues.
Absolutely. City go on a decent run in terms of volume of fixtures. Maybe not quality of fixtures, but that doesn't matter for players like Rodri and players like that, do they?
It doesn't. But when you look at the quantity of fixtures, you've got to remember that one of those before the overhaul's not going to be there.
Yes, really good shout that. Yeah.
So you've got to bear that in mind. So if people are thinking of bringing in Rodri back, it's fair enough. You can move from someone like Maddison or Son or another Tottenham player, or I think you can move from an Arsenal player after they play, maybe a Saka or something. But bear in mind that extra game you're getting with Rodri, you're losing one at the end of December. Yeah. So, and again, a bit like I often say, look at your long-term plan on your transfers. You might think I'm going to gain something here with getting Rodri in, but if the player that you have taken out is playing a fixture when he's not, there's no significant fixture gain really.
Yeah. Arsenal go on a good run from next weekend. They're away to Chelsea this weekend, but then they go.
Yeah, they'll play Sheffield, but then they've got Newcastle away on the Saturday. Yeah. I think the game against Sheffield United on Saturday the 28th is probably the best captaincy that day.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So if you've got Saka, I think it's probably a good shout. If you've got Saliba, I mean, if you fancy Sheffield United not to score, that could be a 10-pointer.
I think it will be a 10-pointer. That's what I'm planning to get him back, I think, for that game.
Okay.
Liverpool play on the Sunday and go on an incredible run of fixtures there. Is Salah the main man? Is he a kind of a must-have for this period, you think, for captaincy? Or?
Oh, I would say so, yeah. There's only 3 players above 40% owned, I think.
Okay.
In the top 10, top 1K. Yeah. I think it's Haaland, Salah, and somebody else. Can't remember who
Saka was. I'm not sure if it's him now. He
might have dropped down a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that.
I mean, Salah's so good in this game. Shot bonus.
Yeah.
Penalties, and Liverpool for all their faults at the back, they do like scoring a lot of goals.
They do.
And he's the only one really that plays all of the minutes, isn't he?
He is. And the other a couple of teams I'm very interested in are Villa, again from Sunday the 29th Really nice home game against Luton, though if you are captain in Salah, then you can maybe wait that out. But then they go Forest and Fulham. They got some really nice fixtures, and Brighton's fixtures turn really nicely on Sunday the 29th as well. They go 4 of Fulham, Everton, Sheffield United, and Forest. They're the kind of teams I've been looking at.
Is that when everybody brings Dunk back that sold him? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is where I'm hoping that I've got a transfer to on people, because I've kept Dunk all the way through, and Saka as well. I know some people have moved them on, where I've kind of held them through.
I've got them both too, to be fair.
Bloody alien. Give me something. Give me a slight. Again, like Paul. Paul loves just digging me in the ribs, and then just digging me the other side of the ribs as well to keep me down. But no, they've I think Dunk for that run. He's the kind of player for me. I would just never move on, because he gets the passing in the hard games anyway.
Yeah.
And then you'll want him back anyway, don't you? So and all those games start on a Sunday as well, which is good for people. Can hop off.
Yeah, it's a good thing about Brighton and Liverpool and Villa and West Ham. They're often a Sunday team, aren't they?
Exactly.
With being in Europe on the Thursday.
Exactly that. Anything else from the kind of upcoming 4 weeks, or is it just sort of keep your powder dry?
I think this is play with who you've got.
Yeah.
If you get an issue, then you can use an opportunity to move one or maybe 2 moves then to strengthen your team. A bit like Paul always says, try and get to the team you want to get to.
Yeah. Good stuff. You've also been kind enough, Ian, to produce some predictions for us for the coming weeks, which could impact selections and captaincy later down the line. Do you want to give us the takeaways from that?
So I've done these things like FPL game weeks. So FPL game week 14. Can't remember which date it is. 2 ticks, and I'll have a quick look. And what I've done there, because I don't think there's going to be a single game day on that day. So this must be starting straight after the fixtures we've currently got, is it? Yeah, so from the 2nd of December week, which is what the Premier League have said now, is that they need to give clubs notice, 6 weeks notice, for when they want to change their fixtures, which makes me think that sometime this week we should be at least getting the first round, the December fixtures. But what they've been cute about doing this time around, they've not really given you all of the month at the same time. They've been doing it a bit dribs and drabs. But we might end up with December and January's now, because there's not too many games in January at all. You've got the FA Cup 3rd round at the start of January. You've got the split weekend midway through January, so that takes up 2 weekends. And then the last weekend of January is the FA Cup 4th round.
And there's is there an international break in there or something in January?
No.
There's some kind of break in it. Or is that the split weekend you're talking about? Sorry, is it?
Yeah, split weekend, that is, yeah. Okay. So that goes between the 3rd round and the 4th round of the FA Cup. So all the Premier League teams get 2 weeks off.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Okay.
Unless you're unlucky enough to be playing in the Carabao Cup.
Yes, yeah, indeed, yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully this week, before we get to Saturday, we might get a bit more information, but there's nothing concrete about how much we are going to get. So we've done a bit of guesswork here on what we might get on these game weeks. I'm just going to get my sheet up so I can see what I'm talking about. So on game week 14, which is Saturday the 2nd of December, I don't think there's going to be any single game days there at all, because straight after that, we go into a midweek round.
Okay.
So the teams that are playing in Europe on Thursday will get Sunday games. And I also think that Man City v Tottenham will be the Sky pick on a Sunday, 4:30, which means that Newcastle Man United, I think, will be the TNT pick on Saturday lunchtime that weekend. So then 15 is midweek round. And this is where we'll struggle to get too many games on a Tuesday, no doubt, because Sky will try to manoeuvre the fixtures to do over Amazon, because Amazon have got that round in the midweek. So look out for the fixtures that could be played on the Tuesday. I think there's only 3: Burnley v Wolves, Everton v Newcastle, and Arsenal v Wolves, I think. No, Arsenal v... I can't remember who the fixture is now. 2 ticks.
Luton on the 5th?
Yeah, so we're looking at the 5th there. So you've got Luton v Arsenal, Wolves v Burnley, and Everton v Newcastle, which are the fixtures that could be played on the Tuesday.
Okay.
So look out for Arsenal v Wolves the previous weekend being picked up by Sky on the Sunday. So the only possible fixture that TNT can get on the Tuesday is Everton v Newcastle.
Okay.
Might well happen. Most of the big games will be played on the Wednesday that week, but there will be some stuff that's played on a Thursday. I don't think it'll be a single game day because I think there'll be a couple of games there. And then we move into the following weekend is the Saturday, which is going to be from the 9th of December. And that I think we will get a Monday night football that week.
Okay.
And I think it could be Fulham v West Ham. But West Ham play the following Thursday in the European. So it might get swapped with Everton v Chelsea. That could be a Monday night game, either of those two, I think.
Not the most exciting one either way, I suppose, is it?
No. But it needs must, I guess. Yeah. Sky will break some quotas with it anyway. So, and then the following weekend, which is Saturday the 16th of December, that one I do think will be a Monday night fixture, and it could be Nottingham Forest v Tottenham.
Okay.
I think that weekend. So if everybody's got Tottenham players, not an issue at all. And then we come to the pre-Christmas week. So this is Saturday the 23rd of December. Now, I think there'll definitely be a Friday night game, but there's a few twitches going around that it could be a Thursday night game there as well, with Brighton v Crystal Palace.
Okay.
And I think if that's the case, I think Sky would really like to get Liverpool v Arsenal on the Friday night, but because it'll be a first pick, I think they'll have no choice but stick that on the Saturday.
Okay.
It might get moved back from 5:30 to 8:00, but I think it'll be on that Saturday. And there'll be no Sunday games that weekend because it's Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, okay.
And if Sunday's Christmas Eve, there's rarely football.
Yeah.
There's only ever been one match in the Premier League on Christmas Eve, which was Leeds v Man United about 25 years ago.
Wow, that's one for the Christmas quiz, that is, mate, isn't it?
Hey, absolutely, you know the answer.
Exactly.
And then we move into the Boxing Day, which is Tuesday, and there'll be single game days on the Wednesday and the Thursday. And I think the teams that we covered, we should have players from anywhere. So I think it'll be Liverpool, Man City, Man United, Aston Villa, Arsenal, or West Ham. They'll be playing on those 2 days. Burnley, Liverpool's one of the games it could be, I think. Man United, I think, are playing Aston Villa. Man City are playing Everton. Arsenal playing West Ham, I think, in that midweek round. And then we've got the last round before the overhaul, which will feature a single game day on the Monday, which is New Year's Day. And I think it will possibly be Fulham v Arsenal or West Ham v Brighton.
Okay.
And I think there'll be 5:30 kickoffs before the darts on Sky in the evening.
Wow. Before the darts. I love how you consider the dart as well. That's absolutely brilliant.
Oh, yes, it's got to be done. So, I mean, overall, if those predictions come anywhere near true, obviously, usual caveats apply. It's only a bit of a guesstimate, but there is logic there somewhere. Doesn't look as if there's too much, really.
It doesn't.
You could say Crystal Palace v Brighton, but Dunk's always a staple in this game. If you end up with something like Luton v Newcastle dumped in on a Friday night pre-Christmas, I mean, you could go and get somebody. I mean, Newcastle, Trippier's very popular. He's in the high echelons now of ownership amongst the top 1K. So,
yeah, I think overall, from looking at that, there's not a massive need to use a bunch of transfers at all, is there? There's that.
Doesn't seem to be.
There's that Wolves and Fulham game at the end of November.
Now, if you haven't got anybody there and you haven't got a pressing need, I mean, that looks one of the most skippable ones you could ever see.
Yeah, it does. It does. I'm sure.
But if Fulham v West Ham turns out to be a single game day, or Fulham v Arsenal, then it might be one that you think, I'll go and get somebody now, but we'll know about that at that time.
Exactly. Yeah.
So again, there's no rush to use anything.
I think this has kind of prompted me a little bit to go ahead with my loose-ish plan of using a couple of transfers to almost get the team I want for the next 5 or 6 weeks, I think, without thinking, I've got to use more next week and the week after and the week after. Obviously, there will be injuries.
You'll have something you need to deal with, but that's always the case,
exactly,
isn't it?
And everyone has to deal with those as well, don't they? So it's looking pretty very straightforward to navigate as long as you've got the usual kind of Haaland, Salah, Spurs player, Dunk, and that maybe Newcastle player a bit later, but
possibly
easy to kind of navigate, don't it?
Yeah, nothing really striking. I mean, Sky will probably pull a couple of rabbits out of the hat and get something there that we don't need. But if it's only one game, then easy enough to work with.
It is, and even then though, if the team is so settled and steady, and kind of doing it easy, if it does pull out, I don't know if he'll pull out a Luton and.
Luton v Newcastle was one that I did think could go in one of those Christmas days.
Yeah, that could be one, and that could be one where you wait for the lineup and go with the forward rather than the Trippier. Maybe kind of a hop in.
Well, there's a lot of people with Nakamba, isn't there? If he gets a tackle bonus, that's a 10-pointer.
Of course, and no doubt he will because he is every single bloody week at the moment, and he's flying.
Another one sitting in my team, mate.
I've got to get to him still. I've got to do another transfer to get back to him. Yeah. You're flying, Ian. You really are. I think your name's on the cup this year.
I doubt it.
I think you'll be taking Paul's mantle this year. No. Thanks for that, Ian. That is really, really useful. I think it's given me a lot more confidence in the fact that because I know I don't have to make transfers. I'm not as averse now to actually making a couple to get my team to a point where I can just almost leave it for quite a while.
So if we go back to Julian and Spartan's question earlier, what would you consider a decent number for yourself at overhaul?
Yeah,
halfway.
No, less than that. I think.
Okay.
Well, looking at what I've seen now, anyway, we've had to juggle some pretty shitty single game days, haven't we? To start off with, there was the Forest one. A lot of people went with a 1 year Gibbs. With Gibbs White
start with, weren't there? Yeah,
and there was a few others where we had to go in and out, and there's been a few injuries and things, which we'll always have. I think looking at that, how many game days roughly?
I think there's a dozen left between now and overhaul.
I've used 10 in 8 weeks, but I would say I've already got Watkins, who I wouldn't have done. I've got Alisson, which I wouldn't have done. So I've made a few
sort of couple of steps ahead.
Exactly. So I think with that in mind, if we average that out, and maybe
if you can
9,
use 10 in the next 12.
Exactly that. Then. 10 in the next 12. I think going in with 30.
That takes you fair then, doesn't it? 30 left.
Going in with 30 is reasonable, and I do think that I'm a firm believer in Sky that you can't really race ahead and use lots of transfers and end up the season having a really good season. That's my own belief. You'd have to be
well ahead, wouldn't you?
You'd have to be hundreds of points ahead.
Yeah.
But to do that, you have to be incredibly lucky because if you look at these fixtures, everyone else is going to have the same sort of players as you, all the key players. You're not going to be able to, like, lots of people have Haaland, Salah, Saka, Dunk. Lot got Son or Maddison. I'm not even sure who else you can have. You may strike it lucky and hit like a Bowen hat trick or something like that, or something like that.
There's a few that have struck lucky with like the Watkins hat trick.
Yeah.
You've had those that got the Son one at the right time. I mean, anybody that was on Ferguson and Son that weekend.
Wow. Yeah.
Was it? Somebody else did something as well.
Haaland. There was the three of them all had hat tricks on the same weekend, didn't they?
Well, so most have got Haaland.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you've got the other two at the same time, I mean, that's a bumper score, isn't
it? It is. But hat tricks don't happen that often, do they? And all these teams we're also talking about are all in Europe as well. So even like West Ham are in Europe, Villa are in Europe. They're all in Europe as well.
Yeah.
Newcastle, City, Liverpool, United, Arsenal. There's only really Spurs. Who have got really good options going forward, who are not Europe, and even those Son and Maddison are both carrying knocks, aren't they? So I think it's going to be quite hard to find the players or the teams that are going to help you absolutely fly. So my strategy is definitely just going to be just sit. I'm just really happy sitting, see where I am at overhaul, and then if I'm still well off
the opportunities,
if I'm still well off the pace, then I know I may have to take a couple of gambles then on maybe a couple of different teams or different players, go go against the the herd on certain players, but I don't believe that you can.
So you're not exactly well off the pace now.
No, I'm fine.
About 8K.
Yeah, 8K. I'm really happy with it. I gotta be honest.
100 points off the top 100.
I'm fine with that. I am. Yeah.
Yeah, happy
definitely.
days.
And I think anyone who's got kind of 40 plus transfers in the top 20 to 25K shouldn't be panicking and trying and trying to chase it, because a lot of chasing we can do organically. In this, and the swings are wild, right? I went from 6K to 17K back to 8K in the space of like 9 days. So it's just all
it's based on by how many players you have on a certain day, isn't it?
Exactly that. So I wouldn't worry. Those who are thinking, I haven't got to the best of start. This is not where you can't win it now, but you can definitely lose it, can't you? By just burning through them unnecessarily, trying to find the holes.
Yeah, you'll never catch those up.
Exactly that. We've had a few questions in, Ian. A few of them were around Bissouma. Okay. So I've got Bissouma as well.
Okay.
I don't think he's quite lived up to what we thought he may have been at the start of the season. I think a lot of us thought he was going to smash the pass in every game, get tackled most games. He's done okay.
What's he done? One or the other most games.
Exactly that. He loves a booking, which obviously knocks a point off him every week. But obviously he's banned now for the next game. And then when he gets his other card, he's going to have another ban. So he's kind of a bit of a tightrope. So everyone's asking what to do with him now. Do you get rid of him now?
I'd do nothing before next Friday.
Okay.
He's playing twice.
He is playing twice, you're right.
When everybody else is playing once.
You're right.
Obviously, he's only playing one of the games, but nobody else is playing more than one before he plays his. So I'd wait till then. And then if you need to move him, you can move him afterwards. Have a look at your plan next Friday night after he's played his game.
Yeah, I think that's a really sensible look. Yeah, and will it be a 1 game ban or a 2 game ban?
He's on a 1 game ban for the red, and he'll get a 1 game ban for his next yellow.
Yeah.
It works on, I think, 5 bookings in the first, I think, X number of weeks, maybe 20 something weeks. You get a ban.
Yeah.
And then if you get 2 bookings within 32 weeks, you get a 2 game ban. And if you get more than, I think it's 15 bookings in whatever those weeks are, it's a 3 game ban.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Polini got the 2 gamer last year, didn't they?
Yeah. I think he's a good hold, but I also think that with Nakamba priced the way he is at 0.7 cheaper, and with us looking to get these, like I want Saliba back, just as an example.
Okay.
Need to find a bit of money, and the camera's just smashing it every week. So what I might do, I haven't looked exactly at the fixtures, but I might do Bissouma to Nakamba next weekend, not this weekend as you mentioned, because he plays anyway on the second day, but maybe next weekend.
So you can bring Nakamba in for the Villa game on Sunday then.
Yeah, exactly that, and then and then look.
Yeah, they've got bad fixtures, Luton, but it's not so bad for tackles.
It doesn't matter for tackles at all, does it? This is the thing.
Yeah.
Andy Roberts.
And that'll save you, 0.7?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, which is quite hefty.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Romero?
I like Romero.
I really like Romero. Is he still he's in your team? I'll be sick.
He's not in my team. He'll be in it on Monday.
Yeah, I really like Romero. He's really cheap, and he's just smashing the passing, isn't he?
I don't often give my team away, but I'm taking out Silva for Romero on Monday.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a really good move. That frees up a bit of cash as well, doesn't it?
Cash in the bank. Because I've still got Turner.
Okay.
And that leaves me a move if I need to move him away.
Nice.
So
I like Romero. He's one I was trying to think of the 3 defenders I would like going forward. And I think I would like Dunk, Romero, and Saliba. I think that's a really strong 3. So I'm trying to kind of work my way towards that, away from Bayer and bloody Colwell.
I think that can't be far from mine. Wrong slide. Yeah, I think by the time we get Romero in, that'll be similar to mine, mate.
That's a strong defence for the coming weeks, isn't it? Well, until the overhaul.
You probably won't move those after until the overhaul.
Exactly that.
Unless you have to.
Yeah. Exactly that.
Yeah.
Robertson looks like he's dislocated his shoulder in the week, so we had a couple of people asking around Tsimikas. Apparently, if he doesn't need an operation, this is just off Twitter, he could be out for anything from 2 to 4 weeks. If he does need an operation, he could be out for weeks or months. My immediate
so it's wait for information.
Exactly that. I'm not sure what his ownership is. I'm guessing it's not incredibly high.
I expect the question was more: is somebody thinking of moving Bissouma to Tsimikas?
Bissouma to Tsimikas could be a decent move if we know he's going to get a really good run of games.
Because what you could do there, you could play him for the 4 games. So they're decent for Liverpool, aren't they? They've got Nottingham Forest next week, then Luton, then Brentford before they play Man City in the early kickoff.
Yeah.
So you could get those even if you play them on that Saturday, then move to somebody else on the Sunday.
Yeah. I think it's decent.
Could be moved to a Villa player, maybe.
But
not sure what they've got afterwards. They've got decent fixtures now, so
can't see him being rushed back. But with Europe as well, I also not sure is Tsimikas going to play every single game? Or I'm not sure, but I think he's really cheap, and I
think Liverpool have won the first 2 European games, haven't they?
Can't remember.
Yeah, they did.
Have. Okay,
they won the first 2. I think they played Toulouse in the next 2. Okay. So Tsimikas can play Monday, Wednesday, whatever it might be. Yeah. Then by the time we get to December, Robertson will probably be back.
Let's see if I find his price. I'll try and find his price. I think it's either 7.2 or 7.7, but
okay.
Yeah, it all depends when he's back, I think, because if he's out for a while, their fixtures are really good for the long term, aren't they?
They are. Yeah.
Be good. And the final sort of lots of questions was, potentially coming off Son or Maddison. I've got both at the moment, for example, and
okay.
I probably want to get rid of one at some point. And a lot of people are asking about getting Rodri back. Now, you touched on Rodri earlier about he's going to lose the game pre-overhaul.
He's going to lose the fixture gain game,
yes,
isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Because the game against Brentford, I think, is the one that's going to be moved. I mean, it's still a good pick. And if you're moving somebody, say, from a Song to a Rodri, you're getting the same number of games if you move them after the Friday game.
Yeah, good show. What's your thoughts on Rodri?
I like him.
Is he worth a transfer?
It might be worth one.
Okay.
I wouldn't say. It might be one that you look ahead and say, if player X goes, I'll bring Rodri in. Yeah. I won't. I mean, somebody might say, well, I'll do Saka to Rodri, but then Saka might play against Wolves on their 2nd of December and bang a hat-trick.
Yeah.
I mean, Rodri could get a hat-trick of a goal, shot, tackle, passing, but still not the same, is it? And you'd never captain Rodri.
Would he be in your sort of overhaul team now until the overhaul? If you were to pick a team now.
If I was picking a team now, I'd probably find a way to get him in, yeah. I'd probably find a way to get him in.
He's so rock solid, and he's playing more advanced this year as well, isn't he? So he's getting. I mean,
those attacking returns that he's got at the start of the season, he's not done that as often in previous seasons.
No, but I think I think.
And then a lot of people have got Alvarez in now for that.
Yeah,
and he's $1 million cheaper.
He is. Really good shout. Good stuff there, Ian. Thank you. Let's have a quick look at next game week then. So we've got 3 game days next weekend. Starting on Saturday,
we have
Liverpool Everton 12:30, Forest Luton, Newcastle Palace, City Brighton, Brentford Burnley, Bournemouth Wolves, Chelsea Arsenal, and an 8:00 game Sheffield United and Man United.
Nobody will be watching that. They'll all be watching France v England.
They'll be watching France v England. Haaland captaincy.
South Africa v.
What's that? Sorry,
South Africa.
South Africa it will be.
Yeah.
Haaland captain, or are you tagging anyone else? Yeah. He's going to have to be Haaland, I think, against that Brighton defence.
I think Haaland.
Yeah, I think so. Salah could do well against Everton. United, Sheffield United. How frustrating have United assets been this season? Not so much in Sky. I haven't really owned them, but it's the other games.
Yeah, they've not frustrated me. I got rid of them.
I've still got Rashford and Bruno in FPL and that as well. It's just so annoying. I'm getting rid after this week, I think, and wildcard next week.
Yeah, I don't blame you, to be honest.
They're so annoying.
Yeah, they'll come good then, though, won't they?
Well, one last throw of the dice this weekend. Single game day on Sunday, Villa West Ham. I think after his hat trick and 2 assists, Watkins has probably thrust himself into the limelight. There was debate, wasn't there?
He's the other one that's in the more than 40%.
It's
I've
Watkins.
just remembered.
Wow, okay.
It's Watkins, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is he your pick for that game?
Yeah.
Would you be bringing him in as well if you didn't own him? Is he kind in that list of I must have him?
Yeah, he
really?
would be. Yeah, if I didn't have him, I'd have had a plan to get him in for tomorrow, Sunday.
Any interest for West Ham players? They're having like a decent season, aren't
they? They are, but if I was picking one or the other, you wouldn't want both. No. I'd go for Watkins for now.
Yeah, agree with that.
If you look at their fixtures, you've got West Ham, Luton, Nottingham Forest, Fulham. Doesn't get much better than that.
It
doesn't get much better than that. And West Ham at the same time, they've got Villa away, Everton, Brentford, Nottingham Forest, so it's good.
It's good. Bowen, if you were looking for a West Ham player?
If I was looking for a West Ham player, I'd go with Bowen. Yeah.
There were some comments last week to the manager as well saying he was trying to turn him into a striker. Yeah.
He wants to play, is it Kudos on the right?
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Kudos, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah. I do like Bowen, but he's pricey in this, isn't he? 9.6.
Is he that much, is he? Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that.
I think so. I'll have a quick look.
And then Spurs and Fulham on Monday, and obviously Spurs play again then on Friday, don't they?
Yeah, so if you haven't got a player, this is where you bring one in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, if I was picking them, I'd go Son at the top, then Maddison, then Romero.
Nice.
High ceilings for captains.
Yeah.
That's my way of thinking.
So the only other thing of where I might take out Bissouma.
Oh, he's not 9.6. Bowen's 8.8.
8.8.
So that's a bit more reasonable. Bit more reasonable, yeah.
More affordable. The only way I might take out Bissouma this weekend is to release funds. If Bayer's injured, this is my team, right? Obviously. But we could do something like Bissouma to Nakamba to get enough funds to go from Bayer to Romero, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, could do that way.
For those who are looking at away, because you don't want to miss out on the 2 games for Romero, do you? Especially
if you want Romero in, you want him in for Monday night. Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That was my thinking. I think that I was trying to think at the start.
Yeah, I think 2 games of Romero over 1 game of Bissouma is probably worth it, to be honest.
Especially with the fixtures.
Yeah.
And that leaves me enough money then, I'm sure. Yeah, I can either go then Son or Maddison next weekend then, straight to Saliba. Something like, or maybe Cole, I can't remember, but yeah, something like that.
Yeah, you can do that on the Saturday then after the... Okay, makes sense.
Would you keep out of Son and Maddison?
It would be price dependent.
Okay.
If I was picking one to keep to captain, it'd probably be Son.
I think so, isn't it?
Yeah.
As much as I love Maddison, I do love Maddison. I think Son has just got that. He's got that X factor about him, haven't he? He can hat trick.
Yeah, if somebody's going to score a brace or a hat trick, it'll be Son.
Exactly, and he's probably on penalties as well, isn't he? Which he still don't.
Yeah, Maddison seems to be. He gets his points, and he does get the odd tier. But you always seem to be surprised when he gets one.
Yeah, you're right.
Or I do anyway.
You are right. And it seems to be like a cracking goal as well. Whereas Son's in behind. Like I've been really impressed with Son's goals against. I think it was Arsenal Liverpool, where you would never see Kane. You would never see Kane bursting through the middle. You know when he's burst through the central defenders. He's got there first and he's managed to nip it past the keeper. That's something you didn't see Kane doing. And I think Son is quick enough to kind of do that. I think he's going to have a storm of a season if he stays at number 9, which he hopefully will.
Yeah, he's a top draw player, isn't he? So there's no question about
that. Last question. We did have some questions, but we've answered almost all of them as we've gone through. So thanks for that, Ian. But one last question off Manchester. Cole Palmer, 6.5 million, potentially interesting. And he took the penalty last weekend, and did see the manager said that he's going to be playing for us on the right. So I'm not sure what that means for Sterling. But 6.5 million for a top. Sorry, Chelsea fans, a top 8 team. Potentially on penalties. Any thoughts, or do you need to see a bit more?
Probably want to see a bit more, but same price as Bayer. If Bayer's not going to play, could be an easy move. I mean, to be fair though, Chelsea haven't got the best fixtures, have they? Brentford, Tottenham, Man City, Newcastle, Brighton, Man United. It's not striking
Horrible.
goals there, is it?
Not at all. No, you're right.
In fact, you'd probably say for a little bit more, you're better off with Colwell.
Yeah.
But again, that doesn't strike you with much hope either, to be honest.
He's not getting the passing. Even if he was getting the passing,
not getting
Colwell,
anything.
You'd be like, he got the assist, which was quite lucky. I say lucky. You don't expect assists from him, but.
So you've got Brentford, Tottenham, Man City, Newcastle, Brighton, Man United. How many clean sheets do they get in there? 1 out of 6?
Maybe. They have been okay at the back, in all fairness, but they're just so unexciting to watch, aren't they? It's not good.
Oh, that was one of those days where that was it. Burnley v Chelsea and then Everton v Arsenal on Super Sunday. And that made most rugby look decent fair, to be honest.
It did, you're right. It did. Okay, so I think that's it from us for this week. Thank you so much for everyone who has joined us. We really, really appreciate you joining us on this Monday evening. Hope you've all enjoyed the break. Hope you've all enjoyed the rugby. And thanks for those who are going to watch and listen back. Your continued support is much appreciated. And thank you so much, Ian. It's been absolutely fantastic to have you back on. We have to get Dan and Liam back on again at some point as well. It's been absolutely.
We'll see if we get something with us all together over the overhaul period, maybe.
The overhaul period, that will be superb. We can have a Christmas drink and a Christmas or a New Year's sprinkling of Sky and Sky chat and drinks. Just to say, on the hub this week, we've got 4 former winners, I believe. Paul, Dan, Liam, and Mark are all sharing their tips on fantasyfootballhub.co.uk for the coming weeks in an article. It's being published this week. So if you are a hub member, it is members only. If you are a hub member, that is going to be an absolutely fantastic read. So make sure if you are a hub member, you look out for that this week. If you're not a hub member, you can join the hub. You get 30% off on a 7-day free trial if you click via the link below. But that should be an incredible read as well. But yeah, thank you, Ian.
I look forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome read. So, but thank you, Ian. Absolutely amazing to have you back. Love the fixture chat. Love your thoughts and your approach to how you play the game. It's always really interesting and a different perspective, which is good. And you're so tight on those transfers. You're an inspiration with the transfers. Like, just not using any transfers. I'm like, what about this?
Absolutely, all part of the plan.
All this? Yeah, all part of the plan. Sit on your hands, log out, lose your password for a few months, and then just attack in the second half is the way to do it. And you do it every year,
absolutely,
right? And you win every year. So yeah. So yes, thank you, Ian, and don't forget to check out all Ian's amazing tools on the hub. His planner is what every Sky. What every Sky winner uses. So Ian Parron's planner on Fantasy Football Hub is absolutely incredible. Make sure you drop him a follow as well. At Planet Sky.
That is it, at Planet Sky. Thank you very much, Fergie. Thanks for having me again.
We will definitely have you back before the season, Ian, and hopefully we'll have everyone back. We'll have a bit of a round table around Christmas and New Year. That
sounds like a working plan. That
It does. My handle on Twitter is @Fergi. If you like what you watched, please press the like button. We'd really appreciate it if you did. Remember to subscribe in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. If you enjoyed your listen, please rate the podcast version and leave some comments. Paul and I will be back next week previewing Sky Gameweek 12. Probably a little less transfers, probably very Spurs heavy. Looking forward to the Monday night game of Spurs and Fulham. No doubt to see like a Romero red card as we bring him in, and a Son go off injured, and it's just everything's ruined. But we will see next Monday. Wish you the very best of luck for Game Week 11. Enjoy the rest of the international break, and goodbye for now.